season, which is, right around the corner from free agency, the draft, trades, everything could go down. This is officially the first day of the off season, and we're already getting the hot and juicy rumors. Okay, guys, I'm talking Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul names both have been thrown out into the fire right away, immediately, day one of the offseason. That's how you know that the Lakers have really been already planning for the next stages as far as going ahead to make a trade here. And what did I tell you guys as soon as the season ended for us after the first round? I told you guys, don't be shocked if the Lakers acquire Russell Westbrook. Right, that was my very first take. You guys can go back and watch it after we got eliminated. I said Russell Westbrook is a name to look out for. Why? They have a great relationship with LeBron James. I'm not sure if Clutch is his agent or not, but he has a great relationship with LeBron. They've been spotted in the offseason since last year together, and I think it's always been a long-term plan for either Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook to join the Lakers. And we're going to talk about Chris Paul as well, but I just really feel like it's going to be Westbrook. And I told you guys, my gut, the tea leaves keep telling me Westbrook, Westbrook, Westbrook. Well, today, Mark Stein reported that, hey, the Lakers have already been in talks with the Wizards for Russell Westbrook. Now, we're going to break down the package, what that looks like, what my thoughts are about that package, and what I think of overall of potentially acquiring Westbrook. All right, these are legit rumors. These are the ones I like to talk about, not the ones made up by non-credible sources. So Mark Stein, very credible. Again, the report says the Lakers have discussed a sign and trade with Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Kuzma, and unfortunately Talen Horton-Tucker for Russell Westbrook. Before I get into that, let me read my man's comment right here. He said Westbrook and Melo would be amazing in the offseason. Yes, they would. But is the price too steep for a bloated contract like Russell Westbrook's? By the way, I'm not sure how many years there's left in that contract. But is the price too steep? Think about it. We're giving up Dennis Schroeder, all right, who's 1 year removed from Sixth Man of the Year. Kyle Kuzma, who's a very formidable role player in this league. I think he's going to develop just like Thomas Bryant did over there with the Wizards. And we're giving up a future talented piece like Talen Horton-Tucker, who's only 20 years old and has already been, coveted around the league. I do not like that package, okay? Now, if I'm the Lakers, I wouldn't be shocked if they make that package because we are on the LeBron James, Anthony Davis timeline, not on the Talen Horton rebuilding timeline. So it would make sense if they include him in the package. It didn't make sense last year for Kyle Lowry, but for Russell Westbrook, it would make sense, even though I still feel like we're giving up just a bit too much. But hey, what's new, right? For some reason, the league always requires so much from my Lakers, but then when it's other teams, they throw in, pennies to the dollar in a trade, and they pull off, deals for players like Russell Westbrook and stuff like that. So I don't know, guys. The key here is that Rob Pelinka is discussing. Now, is there other options? Is there other pieces we can move instead of Talen Horton-Tucker? Well, remember, we cannot include that draft pick right away. I think it takes either 30 or 60 days, not sure which one, before we can move that player. So he probably wouldn't be included in the trade, which is a good thing because we need some sort of youth. We need some sort of asset to keep moving forward. So I would be pleased if we're able to trade for Westbrook and keep the pick because it would give us our top three players. We still have the mid-level exception and the veterans minimum to go out and get two other players. We need some shooting. We need some interior defense as well. And like I said, we have our top three players. Now, I'm going to talk about the fit of Russell Westbrook. He said, unfortunately, Dan, when you have LeBron and AD, you're in win now mode. So we got to do the trade, even though I love THC. We got to make that trade if possible. I agree with you. I think it's going to go down. I would love it if we didn't have to include THC. If we can include, honestly, I love Caruso, but he's already hit his ceiling to me. I think I'd rather include Caruso instead of THC if that was possible. I don't think it's possible because he would have to, agree to a sign and trade as well. And I'm hearing other teams like Cleveland are interested in him. So he's going to get paid wherever he goes. Bottom line is, I think I'd rather throw in another good role player rather than the future that is Talen Horton-Tucker. But beggars can't be choosers. We're kind of with our backs against the wall. We saw what teams did. You need to have a big three to win, right? Believe it or not, Milwaukee had a big three. We didn't have a big three last year when we won a championship. So contrary to whatever the media tells you guys, we didn't have a big three, guys. All right, we had Anthony Davis, LeBron, and then every other night it was somebody different. It was either Rondo or Dwight Howard who stepped up, or Kuz. Every night it was somebody different, but it wasn't a consistent big three. Russell Westbrook gives you a consistent big three. Why? If Anthony Davis goes down with injury, or LeBron is hampered by injuries, God forbid, or foul trouble, whatever the case, if he's too fatigued, whatever, Russell Westbrook's the type of player that can take over. He's, even at his age, he can still put up major points, major rebounds. He can still play solid defense. He can still get out in transition and do damage. And even though I know he's not providing the number one thing we need this offseason, there's still other positions to fill around those three players. You can still get two other floor spacers. And remember, LeBron can shoot the three. Anthony Davis can shoot the three. Russell, not really. He's very inconsistent. I think he's a below 30% career three-point shooter. I think. I'm not sure. So, but the value he does bring, he brings a lot of playmaking abilities. He brings decent defense. I'm not going to say he's the best defender, but he holds his own at his age. He brings a lot of energy night in and night out, which is a contrast from what Dennis Schroeder was giving us last year. This is the reason I kind of knew we were going to go out and get a player like Russell, because I think the front office was sickened by the low lethargic energy from our role players, and especially the one who was given the most opportunity, which was Dennis Schroeder. So again, a lot of people don't like Westbrook. I haven't been a huge fan of Westbrook, right? Because I don't like his personality and stuff like that. But the kid plays hard. You got to respect it. He has a motor. I call him steroids all his career because he plays like he's on steroids. He's always mad at the world. He's always going 110%. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't seem to get tired. And I think that's exactly what the Lakers need. And this is why, Rob, it would make sense to me. Now, other side of the spectrum to this, right? Other side of the spectrum to this. Now, we also heard about Chris Paul today. Chris Paul, obviously, is a better floor general. Obviously, Chris Paul is older, so that's a negative. The pro is he's a better floor general. He can space the floor better and run the offense better. The con is that he's not as athletic. He's older than Russell Westbrook, and he's a bit of a diva. So if you can manage that, then I guess he makes a little bit more sense. But I prefer Russell Westbrook, man. I prefer a player who's always going to play hard, who's younger, who doesn't have a huge history of injuries. Yes, he's been injured here or there, but it has been like, when he broke his wrist, or, it's been actual injuries, not any ticky-tack stuff. So as much as I'd hate to give up Talen Horton-Tucker, I think we do have to give a big three. I wish we can get a better player like Damian Lillard or Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal, but for some reason, for the Lakers, we cannot get the same evaluation as the rest of the league, if you guys catch my drift. Like, other players could throw in, other teams could throw in pennies to the dollar in a trade, and the Lakers will have to give up Talen Horton-Tucker, Kyle Kuzma, 20 first-round picks, and et cetera, et cetera. For those reasons, I think players of that caliber are out of reach. But like I said, and I said this first day of our offseason, when our season ended due to injuries, I said, watch out for Russell Westbrook, player like that, or a player like DeMar DeRozan. I think it could happen, guys, and I think it will happen. Matter of fact, yesterday, Russell Westbrook was spotted with LeBron James at an under-17 basketball youth game, and they were sitting together. Basically, I think this deal probably already went through it, behind the scenes. It makes sense for both sides. Obviously, the Lakers are in win-now mode, hence Russell Westbrook. And, the Wizards are looking to offload that hefty contract, which I'm not a fan of. Again, if somebody could look up how many years left on his contract, I'd appreciate it. But they're, the Wizards win too because they get young talent like Kuz, Talen Horton-Tucker, and they get a formidable role player in Dennis Schroeder. He's formidable on a sucky team, not so much on a playoff contender. So, they could get him and eventually maybe even flip him for more draft picks, whatever they want to do. But bottom line is, we're probably waiting for August 1st because that poison pill contract of Kyle Kuzma is up. So I do feel like, he has 2 more years. He has a player option after next year. Okay, I appreciate that, bro. It could work out. He said Westbrook is a hometown kid, man. Yeah, I'm happy for him. Again, I haven't been the biggest Russell Westbrook fan because I always felt like he couldn't be a first or second option on a championship team. But if we're talking about a third option, I'd be more than happy to take him. And I always have respected his effort and how hard he plays. So for those reasons, after watching a lethargic point guard like Dennis Schroeder, this is going to be basically water in the desert. When we add Russell Westbrook in Staples Center, it's going to be crazy, guys. I will say this: a lot of people are saying no right now, but I think he'll win you guys over with his hard work, energy, and consistent effort night in and night out. And he would take a huge amount of pressure off of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I promise you that. He said, in theory, we get him. In theory, we would get him. He would be a rental, but he can always opt in for another year. Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win for us. If it doesn't work out, he still has some trade value. If it doesn't work out, he could opt out, and we could have all that cap space, which I doubt he will opt out. And as you get older, those other years are better opting in, right? So do I want to do this particular trade of Taylor Horton-Tucker, Kyle Kuzma, and Dennis Schroeder for one Russell Westbrook? Not necessarily. Do I still want Westbrook? Yes. But I hope they can substitute Taylor Horton-Tucker out for somebody else, whether Caruso or, I don't know, Montrezl Harrell, somebody else. I wish we could sub him out. But I know for a fact that the main piece that they're trying to acquire, because they know he's going to be a up-and-coming star player in the future, is Taylor Horton-Tucker. So, again, I wouldn't be shocked if he's included in the package. I think Rob is still trying to leverage that deal. Maybe he's trying to acquire a second-round pick from them in return, or a young asset. I would love Thomas Bryant, but I don't think they would move him. But I would love Thomas Bryant back. We need a big who can actually rim protect and stretch the floor. He can do that. So my man said no, keep Harrell. The problem there is that I don't see Harrell getting a lot of playing time due to Frank Vogel and him basically not really liking each other, and Harrell already complaining. So I think Harrell's going to opt out, period. But if he opts in, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets dealt. I really wouldn't. I'm rooting for the guy. I like me some Montrezl Harrell. I hope he gets consistent minutes wherever he is this season, because the kid is talented, but he's not a 5, all right? He's too undersized for a 5. He's really 6'6". I think he's listed at like 6'7", but I think they're being generous. He's like 6'5", 6'6", and he's better suited at the 4 position, especially because he can't stretch the floor to play 3, 2, or 1, obviously. But at the 4, I think you can get away with it. He said, do you still think Phil Handy can work on Russ' shot, Dan? Of course. Phil Handy's going to do his best part, even with veterans. I'm sure they could tweak stuff here and there. But, again, you're not adding Russell Westbrook as a three-point shooter, or even a shooter for that matter. When he gets hot, he can make them. Cool. You're adding Russell Westbrook for leadership, his motor, his high energy, his passion for the game, and how hard he plays night in and night out. That's the real reason you're adding Russell Westbrook. Dan, do you use StreamYard to stream? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, man. They charge me like $25 a month, but it all comes off as a tax deductible, man. You guys definitely help out with the donation, so thank you guys so much. He said, I'd love CP3. I wouldn't. If I had a choice between both of them, I'm taking the younger, more athletic, fresher legs, especially for the playoffs. Chris Paul, to me, as good as he has been throughout his career as a floor general, put the crybaby stuff aside, the dirty player, all that. Put it to the side. And we're just evaluating the player as a talent. Time and time again, he has choked in the playoffs in crucial situations. Even when he was with the Clippers, I remember I was rooting for them to lose, and this man would choke. He would turn the ball over here, or shoot an errant shot here, or foul somebody at the wrong time because he's too emotional, and I don't like those kind of players. I like smart players, But I do believe that playing besides LeBron James could help Chris Paul, so I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I'm not rooting for that acquisition personally. But honestly, as far as spacing the floor, he does fit a little bit better. He said, it would be nice if we got Russ and Melo. Could happen. Both of those players are interested. Also, I wouldn't be shocked if we end up with Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul and the banana boat is filled up again, minus Dwayne Wade. But I'm just saying it could happen, guys. It could happen. LeBron James is king, and he continues to rule, so he could just bring down the hammer and make it happen. He said, am I crazy by saying I'd rather have Lonzo over both? He said, financially, it makes sense. You're not crazy. Matter of fact, Lonzo Ball, for me, would be the better option because he fits in short-term and long-term. But according to Mark Stein, they're looking for a veteran point guard. Lonzo's not a – I mean, technically, you could pencil him in as a, veteran technically this year. But he's a lot younger than the other two. So I think they're looking for more experience and somebody they can rely on, again, to take pressure off of LeBron and AD. And Lonzo hasn't proven that consistently throughout his career. Even though I would like to acquire him, that would be pretty dope. He said, what's up, Dan? It's been a minute. Hey, what's up, Will? Thanks for the donation, bro. Hey, what's up, Alan? He said, "Do you remember how Westbrook plays in the playoffs?" Yes, but again, I haven't been the big. I'd be a hypocrite if I sat here and tell you guys I've been the biggest Westbrook fan. No, I haven't. I haven't liked Russell Westbrook since his first couple of years in the Thunder. Obviously, I was a fan of him in UCLA, etc., etc. But I just don't. I never liked his attitude, man. I always felt like he was too selfish on the team with KD and James Harden. That's why they didn't win a championship. I felt like he wasn't a very smart role player, but he's gotten a lot better over time. Now you got to give him credit for helping get that Wizards team even close to the playoffs this year because they started off really dismal. However, LeBron James is that guy. All right, he can make anybody fit in. He's proven it with guys like Dwight. He's proven it with guys like J.R. Smith. You know, he can make guys buy in. And if Russell Westbrook buys in, he continues to be aggressive but play smart. And you know, in crunch time, we're gonna have the ball in LeBron James' hands anyways. You know, Russ would probably be like a backdoor cutter type. You know, he'd probably be a lob threat. He'd probably be playing some good pick and roll between him and AD as well. And he'd probably be more off ball when the game is down the stretch, obviously, because you got two closers in LeBron and AD, obviously, respectively, 1A, 1B. Russ would have to take a back seat and sacrifice if he wants to come here. I'm sure they would have a talk with him before even pulling any sort of trade. So I think it could happen. I really do. And I think it would work. I think Los Angeles would love the LA native. Obviously, he would come back home, and before he retires, he'd ride off into the sunset with a championship or two. So it would be scary for the league if you got an athlete like LeBron James coming down your throat, you know, for 48 games, and then you got somebody like Russell Westbrook always at your neck. It's going to be pain. And then you have the skill craftiness and the versatility of Anthony Davis in the paint. Watch out, league. I'm telling you right now. It's different than James Harden and Russell Westbrook because James Harden relies a lot on the refs, you know, but not LeBron. LeBron could take over games. AD could take over games. And I think Russell Westbrook in spurts can actually take it. And again, you'd have two triple-double threats every night. That's going to be hard work for the opposition to, you know, keep them off the glass. So he said Russ not afraid to attack the paint, and he could make free throws. Again, and when he gets hot, he's a good mid-range shooter. 3-pointers, he's hit or miss, you know. Again, I think he's a career below 30% shooter, if I'm not mistaken. But again, Russell Westbrook still has a high motor. This is why I prefer him over Chris Paul. All right, Chris Paul, to me, I don't know, man. He makes some really knuckleheaded plays throughout his career down the stretch. So I don't know. What about D Rose? That would be cool, but that's Tom Thibodeau's guy. I don't think Thibs is moving him anywhere. You know, they finally made the playoffs. They continue to make strides. You know, they're like one good player away from actually. I think they have cap space. They're like one good player away from actually making a run. He said Russ is not afraid to miss the big shots. That's a plus. He said we needed Westbrook and shooters. Now that's the key. If we add Russell Westbrook, now we gotta go out here and get guys like, you know, Dougie McBuckets. Tim Hardaway Jr. would be dope, but it would probably require a sign and trade with probably like a KCP. I'd do it because KCP has been inconsistent, but maybe KCP will flourish under the playmaking abilities of a Russell Westbrook. Imagine now you got two guys who can get in the paint at will, and LeBron and Russ and Anthony Davis, really. And so shooters are going to be wide open, okay? But it's crucial that we have knockdown shooters. Hopefully we bring back Ben McLemore, Wesley Matthews, because I like this 3-and-D abilities. You know, he said the only thing is Russ is a hothead. Again, the thing that offsets that to me is that he respects LeBron. And historically, you know, even Kobe Bryant, when he used to get players like Metta World Peace, they were able to play under him. He was able to, you know, lead them to a championship because he's a great leader. Same thing with LeBron. He's an amazing leader. Teammates love him. Teammates respected him. I remember DeMarcus didn't used to like him. Then he came to the team and he said, oh, everything's completely different than what I thought about him. He changed my perspective. That's called demanding respect. That's called leadership, the heart of a champion. You know, anybody who comes here is going to go from wolf to sheep under LeBron James. As everybody knows there's only one king, and that's King James. My guy said, will we be hard capped if we do a sign and trade? Again, I'm not sure how the cap situation works, but I think if we're returning salary back, I think we should be solid, right? If it's equal trade value, I think we should be solid. But if we are hard cap, we can still use a bunch of veterans minimums to go out and get the rest, fill out the roster. I'm sure if we get Russ, there's going to be plenty of veterans that want to join the team for cheaper. I don't know, maybe a JJ Redick. I don't even know if he's a free agent. Dougie McBuckets, Nerlens Noel. Free agency starts August 1, my man. August 1, so stay tuned. I got you guys right here. This is my first off-season video, and it came day one. So, again, we're already getting the content. Anything can break at any moment. But, it's barely July 21st. We got about 10 days till free agency starts officially. He said, do you think in a condensed season we have any asterisks this season due to the large number of players' injuries and a condensed season? Or would you give Milwaukee Bucks credit for winning an NBA champion? I've said this every year. I said it when we won, and I'd be a hypocrite not to say it when they won. A championship is a championship. At the end of the day, they did what they had to do, and they executed, man. You got to love that, bro. You got to love that, absolutely. So props to them, full props. Whoever wins the championship, I take my hats off to you, period. How are you, Dan? I'm doing good, Realist. What's up, bro? If we get Westbrook, we're not hard cap. That's what I'm saying. I think if we return equal salary, I think we're good. So, again, I'm not sure how the salary cap works, but based on what I've heard, if you give equal salary, you're good. I think it's when you reach a limit. That's when you get hard cap, if I'm not mistaken. He said trades too or early. Not anything could happen, really, guys. Matter of fact, if the Lakers really wanted to and the Wizards really wanted to, I think they could agree to a trade in principle and not execute it till, that poison pill contract of Kuz comes off the books, which I think is on August 1, if I'm not mistaken. Well, when we signed him, he had a poison pill for anybody who tried to trade for him for the first season, I think. But after that, it goes away. So I think the only thing we're waiting for is free agency to start. That way that poison pill can disintegrate, and then he's able to be moved. Now, I could be wrong, but hypothetically speaking, they could have already struck a deal, and they're not going to announce it till the draft or maybe free agency. Anything could happen, guys. But these are the rumors you really want to pay attention to, all right? Not those guys with no check marks on Twitter just making up stuff, talking about they have inside sources. I had to block some idiot, man. And, I try to be cool with him and help him out on his channel. He asked me for help. He even asked me to join his team, but I had to block him because he's just fooling a bunch of, good, faithful Laker fans. I don't like doing that. Never like clickbaiting. I don't care for views or whatever. I'm going to give it to you guys. I'm going to shoot it straight. And I always tell you guys, I'm only making videos if a reliable source is reporting on this stuff. And Mark Stein is credible. So, therefore, I know that for sure the Lakers are in talks with the Washington Wizards. And like I said, that was my prediction. I said I feel Russell Westbrook is going to be the guy. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but I said this about a month ago, and now we're starting to hear this stuff, man. He said, you want Kuz to stay or nah? Honestly, I love Kuz, man, but he did disappoint me in the playoffs. And I'm Lakers first. I'm still going to support him wherever he goes, but this might just not be the right situation for him. Maybe he's not ready for the pressure to play alongside superstars like LeBron and AD. Maybe it's too much for him. He was supposed to be the third piece, and unfortunately that didn't come to fruition. But I do think that he can flourish elsewhere. So as long as he don't go to the Clippers or the Celtics, I'll still be a fan of Kyle Kuzma's. I mean, I still got his jersey, and I'm thankful for everything he did here. Believe it or not, everything matters, man. He had some huge games to hold us afloat, even in the championship year when guys went down with injuries. So you got to be nothing but thankful, and I wish him the best wherever he plays. I'm always going to be a Kuz fan. His mama follows me on Twitter, nothing but love and respect. But I want what's best for my Lakers, and at the same time, what's best for him moving forward. And this just might not be the situation. Anthony, my guy, said people are crazy. They would choose CP3 over Russ. Russ is 4 years younger, plus he's more athletic, and he's 3 inches taller. That matters. I agree, Anthony. I'll take the youth over the old man, Chris Paul. And plus, I feel like Chris Paul's always battling injuries in the playoffs. We need somebody who, even though he's battling injuries, he's not going to make no excuses. He's going to come out here, man, like he's just chomping on steroids. We need somebody like that with that same energy, and this guy, one thing I've always respected about him is his work ethic. All right. One thing we know about Russ, he's a hard worker, I think I'm really tired of watching, players come in like Ramon Sessions, who are supposed to be good, or Dennis Schroeder. I'd rather get a proven player like Russ. And thanks for the donation, Anthony. Appreciate you, bro. He said Kuz would be great with the Kings. He would. He said Russ is a better choice than old man CP3 and his injuries. Plus, I can't stand the crying and complaining. All right, I'd obviously root for Chris Paul if he was a Laker, but I would feel like a hypocrite because I haven't been a fan of his since he was a Clipper, man. So I don't know. I don't know why he developed that horrible habit. Maybe, some of the Doc Rivers rubbed off on him. I don't know. But bottom line is, I prefer Russell Westbrook. I respect him more on and off the court, and I think he's like you guys said, he's more athletic. He's younger, and I think he's more determined as well. He said, "Don't the Lakers?" He said, "Dan, the Lakers will win the 2022 without a doubt." Yeah, Evan, I think if they are able to execute this offseason, come back healthy, I do believe we're still the favorite because remember, at some point this season when we're healthy, we're starting to climb up in the Western Conference standings. All right, we went all the way from 3 to play-in game, right? So I think we were 7. So we ended up, I think, 7. So we ended up playing the play-in game, and that's only due to injuries. So health is the key, and obviously improving the roster because we showed that we didn't have enough. We would have had enough had LeBron and AD been healthy. I have no doubt in my mind we would have battled Giannis in that 7-game series and probably came out victorious. Even with the weak role players, maybe LeBron and AD would have built up their confidence through the playoffs. But injuries is what killed us, man. No excuses, though. We're going to let Milwaukee hold our trophy for one offseason, and then we'll come back to collect it from them this playoffs coming up. So enjoy it, Milwaukee. Enjoy your guys' one-year run. It was a beautiful thing, but now it's time for us to break records out here, and we're coming for number 18 next year. He said, "Would you want Drummond back?" Depends on what he wants, and if he's able to leave his ego at the door. Because if Frank Vogel says, "All right, Drummond, you're playing like crap, we're gonna bring you off the bench," I don't want a mopey trade me type player. I want a player that's still gonna play hard and try to prove the coach wrong and earn his job back. So if he can leave his ego at the door and come for about $5 to $6 mil, I say sure, why not? If not, then I hope we can replace him with somebody like Dwight or Nerlens Noel, or maybe even a young piece that can come off the bench and put in work for us through the draft. Maybe we can buy a second-round pick. We'll see. He said, "Coos to Orlando." This guy, Middleton would have got demolished by LeBron. I would choose Dwight over Drummond any day. Definitely, Dwight's a champ, man. He's been there. He knows the feeling, and he was huge for us in both the Western Conference Finals and the Finals. Forget about the minutes. Forget about the stats. It was the impact he had on the court was great to neutralize those guys like Jokic and Bam Adebayo. I was actually arguing with somebody about this, and they think that bigs aren't relevant in the NBA nowadays. I'm like, I hope you was watching the finals because Milwaukee just showed that size matters. I've been preaching this every year, man, but for some reason, I don't know. People like to argue with me. But hey, I respect everybody's opinion, whether you agree or disagree with me. So it's all respect. He said, Dan, do I think Russ to the Lakers? And do I think he's a good fit with Bron? Yeah, I think LeBron can fit with anybody, to be honest with you. I really do. He was able to coexist with Dwayne Wade, and both of those players are better suited with the ball in their hands. So, yeah, of course, I think this is going to be a smaller rendition of that, of Wade and LeBron all over again. And we have a way better player than Chris Bosh and AD. So, yeah, it's going to be a little glimpse of the Miami Heat. And, most people are going to call us a super team, which I'm okay with, because if that's the case, Milwaukee is a super team too. They had Drew Holiday, who's been an all-star. They had Chris Middleton, who's been an all-star. And they had Giannis, who's been a superstar, right? By those standards, most teams in the NBA have a big three. So I'm okay with whatever they want to call us, as long as we're collecting chips, and that's all that matters, right? He said, do you think that Buddy Hield would be obtainable if the Lakers trade for Russ? It depends how they value KCP, because he'd probably be the last piece, available in a trade that we can move. If we trade Taylor Horton Tucker, then I think our next priority is to re-sign Alex Caruso, and then go for shooters in the free agency. But we'll see. He said Robin Lopez would be a great pickup. I think I prefer Noel, but yeah, he'd be decent. I still prefer Noel if we're going to get a big who can't stretch the floor. Otherwise, I don't know. We'll see. But we got to get creative this offseason. That's for sure. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Rob Pelinka reacts to the limited cap space and how he reacts to the offseason as far as trades, free agent signing goes, and all of that. He has to build another good team quickly. I think he will. He already showed us that he can do it before. I think we'll be very pleased this offseason. Russ is not a winning player, but LeBron James is, and so is Anthony Davis. And if he gets with the program, he can become a winning player. I agree with you though. As a number one or number two option, heck no. When he was with the Rockets, when they had James Harden and him, I knew they weren't going to win nothing because he's not a number one or number two. But as a number three, I think he becomes very lethal. No pressure. Everything he gives you is a bonus if you think about that. Just imagine, we won so many games with a healthy LeBron and AD carrying the team for the most part, role players chipping in here and there. Now imagine you're adding a consistent third piece that can give you 20 and 10 on any given night. That's a huge boost. That's all I'm saying. It's all about consistency. One thing we know about Russ with his effort, skill set, versatility, athleticism, this man is a definition of consistency. He's been an NBA Iron Man for years, He's been giving us that consistency for years. So what would be the best offseason in your opinion for the Lakers, Dan? Best offseason in my opinion. Okay. If we make a trade for a veteran point guard like Russ, Chris Paul, or even Lonzo, okay, I'd be okay with that. But then we have to go out here and take care of other things. For example, we trade Taylor Horton-Tucker, make sure we bring back Caruso. We can't lose both of them. All right, bring back Caruso, and then go out in the offseason, get yourself a JJ Redick type or a Doug McBuckets, somebody who can space the floor for us and help us out. And then go out and sign a center, somebody like a Noel or a Dwight, somebody who can rim protect, because we were so much more dynamic when we had that center. So again, that would be the ideal offseason for me. Just blustering up this team little by little and doing what we can. I'm not expecting a home run. I'm not expecting Damian Lillard. That'd be great. I'm not expecting Bradley Beal. That'd be great. I'm not even expecting Zach LaVine. But what I am expecting is improvement from the top to the bottom. And I think we will get that. I agree with everything you stated regarding THT. Yeah, you know what, Laker girl? He's a special talent, and he's going to flourish somewhere. Wherever he goes, he's going to flourish. People forget he's only 20 or 21. I'm not sure if he turned 21 yet. But, people forget that, he's growing quicker than people think. He has all the tools to become a star in this league, and the rest is all up to his mindset and his IQ and how he continues to develop. But we'll see what happens with him. Look at Thomas Bryant. I've been said I think he's a secret weapon for the Lakers. We should have kept him around. We traded him, unfortunately, and he developed beautifully with the Washington Wizards. Will we trade Marc Gasol? Good question. I'm not sure. I do like Marc Gasol off the bench. I'm not a huge fan of Marc when it comes to him starting. I just don't think he has what it takes to keep up with the centers of the modern day NBA because he's a little flat-footed on the defensive end at his age, which is okay. But off the bench, I'd love to have to bring him back off the bench. Now, but we are going to need an upgrade at the center. That's why I'm thinking either Noel or Dwight are my top two targets. Okay, if we can get either one of those two, I'm ecstatic. I think we're complete, right? But if we, again, dream offseason, Russell Westbrook or Lonzo Ball would be my top two priorities. And then, obviously, Chris Paul would be the option number C. And then shooters, second priority, and then rim protectors in that order. And I hope we can get one of those things through the draft. I hope we can get maybe a shooter, Chris Duarte or somebody like that, or a rim protector in the draft late in the second round pick. Anything, man. Anything that we can find another gem. And this is why, even though it hurts me to trade Taylor Horton-Tucker, I trust in the front office because, our front office has done an excellent job of getting late first round talent, early second round talent, and turning them to some real players, man. I'm talking Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance. I'm talking Taylor Horton-Tucker, and the list goes on and on. So I think we can replenish some of that youth through the draft, and I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, CP3 does choke on the big stage. Yeah, he does. That's why he's my option number 3. Now, people will probably think, Dan, you're crazy. Chris Paul's amazing. He's a floor general. This, and that. Yeah, you're right. And this is why I'm not opposed to acquiring him. However, he's not my number 1 option. I already told you guys why I got Russ and Lonzo up there. All right. He said they should trade Mark for Towns. Nah, man, this ain't 2K, bro. Uh, he said, being for real, if the Lakers trade for Russ, they would have to have a good shooting guard and a whole bench that can shoot. And that's not hard to find in the NBA. You just got to be really smart about who you acquire. There's plenty of shooters in this league. There's plenty of guys who can grab you buckets off the bench. The Lakers just have to be very, very savvy with what they do after, you know? But the pieces of the puzzle have to fall in order. I think if we get Russell Westbrook along with LeBron and AD, I think veterans will be flocking over to try to join this championship run. Because that's what happened last time. He said, no, not Westbrook. No, no, no. Yeah, I hear you, but I don't really feel you, man. I feel like at this point of his career, Russell Westbrook is ready to sacrifice and ready to win. And I think the Lakers are a good spot for him. He said the Lakers, if they get Russell Westbrook, he said they can win the whole thing. I'm saying, this is the thing. They were calling us a super team, in the bubble. We really weren't a super team. We had 2 stars. Super team is 3 stars and more. Well, they can call us a super team if we get Westbrook or any of those guys I mentioned, except for Lonzo. But the other 2, I'm guaranteed they're going to call us a super team, and we better play like a super team because we have the talent. He said it's going to be really difficult for Milwaukee to repeat and the Suns to return for vengeance. Just look at the league next year. He said Nets, Warriors, Lakers, Nuggets, so much competition. Every year the league gets better, man. Every year. And this is what I love about the NBA. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think we still have the best player in the world. Now, some people will say Giannis is the best player in the world. Give that man his props. He's a top 3 in my opinion. But to me, he's not the best. All right, LeBron's still the best. Nobody has dethroned him. If he comes back healthy and he looks good, like he had an MVP season last year in reality, injury stopped him from getting that trophy. So if he looks like that next season to start, and then we got that upgraded roster, I think it's a wrap. I really think we're coming out the West at the very least. At the most, banner number 18 will be hanging from the rafters, and we will be marching down Figueroa Street because they took that from us last year. So I look forward to that, guys. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for me. Keeping my ear close to the ground. Any other rumors to break down or any breaking news, y'all know where to find me. So please click that post notification bell, smash the like button, and if you already haven't, please consider subscribing. A lot of content to come this offseason, including summer league coverage, etc., etc. All right, guys, have a great rest of your evening. And we'll see what happens, man. Go Lakers. Hopefully we pull off something good and we'll have a reason to celebrate this offseason. Have a great day, though. Peace.